Hey there, animal lovers and time travelers. Today, we're heading way back like 10,000 years back to settle an epic prehistoric showdown. Woolly Mammoth versus Mastodon, two elephant-like beasts, both massive, both majestic, but only one can wear the Ice Age crown. So who was bigger, smarter, stronger, more likely to win in a one-on-one showdown? Let's dive into the world of tusks, trunks, and towering titans. Meet the mammoth, nature's furry tank. Alright folks, let's talk about the woolly mammoth, a creature so iconic. It's basically the Ice Age's version of a rock star. If rock stars were 6 tons and covered in shag carpet. Picture this, an elephant now double it in fluff, bulk, and cold weather swagger. These prehistoric giants weren't just big, they were built like tanks, wrapped in winter coats that would make a Yeti file a fashion complaint. Let's break it down. Height, around 10 to 13 feet tall at the shoulder. That's about as tall as an NBA backboard. Weight, up to 6 tons. You'd need 3 full-size SUVs to match their mass, and even then, good luck getting them through a snowstorm like a mammoth could. Tusk power, those bad boys could stretch up to 16 feet long. That's like strapping a pair of kayaks to your head and using them as fencing swords. And don't forget that signature fat hump on their backs. It wasn't just for show. That was their built-in energy reserve. Imagine carrying around your own emergency power bank. But it's made of blubber, therefore game, next level. We're talking 2 layers, a long, shaggy outer coat and a dense inner undercoat. If you've ever tried layering up in a Chicago winter, you know why that matters. These guys were walking insulation systems, nature's answer to extreme cold before Patagonia ever existed. As a wildlife specialist, I've always admired how the woolly mammoth adapted to brutal environments. These weren't just survivalists, they thrived in conditions that would send most modern mammals packing. If you dropped a mammoth in Alaska today, it'd probably look around and say, "This is beach weather." Fun fact, some scientists think they might have used their tusks to clear snow off grass, basically prehistoric snowplows with personality. The woolly mammoth wasn't just a big elephant with a winter jacket. It was a cold weather conqueror, a symbol of Ice Age resilience, and honestly, kinda the coolest thing to ever stomp through a snowbank. Now enter the mastodon, the forest tough guy. Alright, mammoth fans, hold your tusks because the mastodon is stomping into the ring, and let me tell you, this prehistoric powerhouse is no second stringer. Think of the mastodon as the gritty underdog in your favorite sports movie. Not as flashy as the woolly mammoth, but built to brawl, especially in the dense forests of ancient North America. Here's the breakdown. Height, a solid 8 to 10 feet at the shoulder. Sure, a little shorter than the mammoth, but so is a bulldozer, and that doesn't make it less terrifying. Weight, up to 6 tons, so yeah, still enough to flatten a pickup truck if it felt like it. Tusks straight, thick, and less look at me and more get out of my way. While mammoths had dramatic, curling tusks for style and sweeping snow, mastodons went full utility like nature's battering rams. Therefore game, functional, not fashionable. Shorter, coarser hair that was ideal for pushing through thick forest underbrush, not for surviving Arctic blizzards. You wouldn't see a mastodon on the tundra runway, but you would find one power walking through the woods like it owned the place. But the real twist, check out the dental situation. Unlike mammoths' flat grinding teeth made for grass, mastodons had sharp, cone-shaped molars perfect for shredding bark, twigs, and shrubs. Honestly, it's like they had built-in wood chippers in their mouths. I've always thought of mastodons as the lumberjacks of the Ice Age. They didn't just survive in forests, they thrived in them, chomping through branches like they were salad. I mean, who needs a chainsaw when you've got molars shaped like pine cones? You could say they were like a prehistoric version of a pickup truck with brush guards, not fancy, but reliable, powerful, and tough enough to muscle through anything nature threw their way. The mastodon may not have the mammoth's fame, but it's got the muscle, the teeth, and the no-nonsense attitude to hold its own. It didn't need to be flashy, just effective. And in the wild, sometimes that's all that matters. Where did they live? Ice Age real estate tour. Let's talk turf. If these 2 giants were roommates, the woolly mammoth would have been the one who never sat still, the globetrotter with a passport full of Ice Age stamps. Woolly mammoths. These beasts had some serious wanderlust. Their range stretched across North America, Europe, and Asia, from wind-swept tundras to forest edges. You name a frozen or chilly patch of land, odds are A mammoth was strutting across it. Their home base, the legendary Mammoth Steppe. Imagine a sprawling, frosty grassland bigger than modern continents, kind of like the Great Plains, but on ice and steroids. This wasn't just a habitat, it was a super ecosystem, filled with tough grasses and cold-hardened plants. And guess who ruled it like royalty? Yep, our mammoth friends. They were built for this stuff: giant fur coats, fat storage, and tusks sharp enough to plow through a snowdrift like a snowblower at full throttle. Now, the mastodons, total homebodies but with taste. These guys stayed local, strictly North American residents, thank you very much. But don't mistake that for boring. Their preferred real estate included dense forests like nature's salad bars. Swamps, think of them as giant, muddy smoothie bars. River valleys, with all-you-can-eat buffets of shrubs and softwood trees. It's like if you dropped a mastodon into modern-day Virginia or Michigan, they'd probably look around, nod approvingly, and say, yep, I could live here. What I love about this contrast is how perfectly these animals were custom-built for their environments. Mammoths, wide open spaces, cold wind in their fur, moving in herds like shaggy SUVs on a mission. Mastodons, quiet strength, browsing through forest shadows, keeping things low-key but powerful, kind of like the wilderness version of a retired NFL lineman who lives in a log cabin. Woolly mammoths owned the tundra, big, bold, and always on the move. Mastodons ruled the woods, strategic, steady, and perfectly tuned to North America's lush, leafy backroads. Two giants, two very different lifestyles. Which one would you rather share a backyard with? What was on the menu? Ice Age edition. Alright folks, let's head to the prehistoric dinner table, and trust me, these giants had very different tastes. Woolly mammoths, the Ice Age lawn care crew. Mammoths were the ultimate grazers. Picture a herd of giant, hairy lawnmowers slowly cruising across the tundra. Their go-to meal, grass, lots and lots of it. We're talking high-fiber feasts of tough tundra grasses, herbs, and the occasional shrub. They'd rip up entire patches of ground using their muscle-packed trunks, basically the Swiss Army knife of the elephant family. Imagine watching a 6-ton mammoth casually using its trunk like a salad tong to scoop up 20 pounds of grass every few minutes. And they didn't just eat, they migrated with the seasons to follow the freshest greens, like giant snowbirds with tusks, mastodons, the forest foodies. Now mastodons, totally different vibe. These were browsers, think of them as the picky food critics of the Ice Age. No fast grass for them. They wanted texture, bark, twigs, maybe a splash of aquatic plants for flavor. Their teeth weren't flat like a mammoth's, they had cone-shaped molars, designed like natural wood chippers. Perfect for chomping through trees like it was a buffet at Olive Garden. But for branches, ever see a beaver go to town on a log? Now imagine a 5-ton version of that, stomping through a swamp like, you, maple bark, don't mind if I do. Here's what I find amazing. Their diets shaped everything about them. Mammoths needed open spaces full of grass, they were built for bulk eating. Mastodons thrived in forests, where their specialized teeth could handle tougher, woodier fare. And get this, scientists have found fossilized poop, yes, really, showing exactly what these guys ate. One sample from a mastodon had chewed up bark and swamp plants, while a mammoth specimen was packed with dry grasses. Now that's some high-fiber history. Mammoths were Ice Age grass lovers, big eaters with big appetites for the open plains. Mastodons were woodland gourmets, slow chewers with a taste for trees and twigs. So team grass or team bark, let me know which one you'd rather follow on a prehistoric food tour. Social lives. Mammoth mamas versus mastodon loners. Let's talk personalities. If the Ice Age had a reality show, woolly mammoths and mastodons would be in totally different genres. Woolly mammoths, the original family van. These guys were the ultimate family creatures. Think of a cross between a tight-knit elephant clan and a road-tripping RV family led by grandma with tusks. Their social structure, classic elephant style. Herds run by a wise old matriarch who knew where to find food, when to move, and how to keep the herd out of trouble. These leading ladies were like GPS, weather radar, and security detail all rolled into one. Communication, oh yeah, they talked. Through trumpeting calls, deep rumbles, and even foot-stomping signals that could travel miles through the ground. Imagine a herd of shaggy giants gossiping like, did you see what Carl the Bull did last season? Walked right into that blizzard rookie move. Baby mammoths got VIP protection, raised by the whole family. Aunties helped babysit, and big sisters passed down the playbook of survival in the cold. Mastodons, Ice Age introverts, now mastodons, total opposites. Sure, the females and calves hung out in small groups like a quiet brunch club in the woods, but the males were lone wolves. After reaching adulthood, the bulls said, "Thanks, Mom," and headed out on their own. They wandered solo through forests and swamps, browsing for bark and probably enjoying the peace and quiet. From a behavior standpoint, this makes total sense. Their food sources were more scattered, so less competition meant less drama. And honestly, with that kind of diet, you probably don't want anyone judging your bark-chewing habits. This difference in social structure is wildly cool to me. It shows how much environment and diet shape behavior. Mammoths, out in the open and constantly on the move, needed a support system. Mastodons, deep in the woods, were all about independence and stealthy snacking. If you're more of a people person, you'd probably vibe with the mammoth crew. If you like solo hikes, books, and no group texts, you're definitely Team Mastodon. So, which Ice Age social circle would you join? Herd life with the Woolly fam, or Lone Ranger vibes with the Mastodon boys? Let me know below, I'm dying to hear. So who would win in a fight, the Ice Age smackdown? Alright, let's get real. In the wild world of prehistoric beasts, these two probably never squared off in the wild. They lived in different places, ate different foods, and had different lifestyles. But, hey, let's throw logic out the window for a second and imagine a fantasy fight. Woolly Mammoth, the heavyweight champion. First up, we've got the mammoth, the larger-than-life contender. Bigger, bulkier, with giant tusks and thick fur that's basically natural body armor. This guy's got 6 tons of muscle and sheer mass working in his corner. Size advantage? Oh, absolutely. Imagine trying to mess with something the size of a miniature building. You're a mastodon, and you're about to charge. But suddenly, the mammoth rears up, and those 16-foot tusks start swinging like an out-of-control wrecking ball. Good luck with that. Mastodon, the compact powerhouse. Now, on the other side of the ring, we've got the mastodon, more compact, but packing some serious punch. His tusks are shorter, straighter, and probably better for jabbing than those long, swooping mammoth tusks. Plus, those cone-shaped teeth, they're built for tougher material, tree bark, branches, the kind of stuff that says don't mess with me. Mastodons are the kind of underdog that makes you look twice. They might be smaller, but they're no pushover. So who takes the win? In my expert opinion, yes, I have one of those. The mammoth probably comes out on top. I mean, size matters, especially when it's 6 tons of pure, shaggy muscle. That thick fur and sheer bulk would give it some serious protection in a fight. Not to mention, the mammoth has that I'm 16 feet tall intimidation factor. But here's the thing, it wouldn't be a walk in the park. The mastodon's tougher teeth and compact strength would definitely give the mammoth a run for its money. If this was a brawl of pure muscle, I'd still put my money on the mammoth, but honestly, it's gonna be a close one. In the end, mammoth might win by sheer bulk and intimidation, but I think we're looking at more of a staring contest than an all-out knockout. These two giants would probably size each other up and call it a draw, because let's face it, nature didn't want to mess with 2 alpha giants fighting for the crown. If I had to place bets, I'd say the mammoth's going to win in this showdown. But, you know, I think we're all a little fascinated by that tough little mastodon, the kind of guy who'd show up in a fight and leave you thinking, hey, that was one tough cookie. Who do you think takes it home, the big, furry mammoth or the tough, solitary mastodon? Let me know below, I'd love to hear your Ice Age battle strategies. So, what do you think? Alright, Ice Age fans, time to sound off. Would the mammoth crush its way to victory with its giant tusks and thick fur? Or do you think the mastodon would pull off the ultimate surprise tusk-powered takedown? Drop your thoughts below, because here, Ice Age debates are always on the table. Whether you're Team Mammoth or Team Mastodon, I wanna hear it all. Let's get the comment section roaring like a prehistoric brawl. And don't forget, if you're loving these epic animal showdowns, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more wild battles, cool facts, and all-around beastly fun. Who's your bet on? Let the games begin. See you in the next epic showdown. Dangerous moments, don't try this at home. Alright, Let's be clear, these prehistoric titans, mammoths, and mastodons might have lived in a world of epic battles, but getting too close to these beasts wouldn't have been a great idea, not even if you had a time machine. I mean, imagine coming across a 6-ton mammoth or a giant mastodon with tusks that could pierce through almost anything. That's not just a wild encounter, it's a you might want to back up situation. Even in a hypothetical fight, these creatures aren't here for cuddles. Their tusks are sharp and their strength is off the charts. We're talking about creatures that could easily topple trees and trample smaller animals or, in this case, human-sized people. So, if you're planning to face off with these giants, let's just say you'd better have some serious backup. Should you keep a mammoth or mastodon as a pet? Okay, let's address the elephant in the room, pun intended. Should you get a mammoth or mastodon as a pet? I mean, they're big, cool, and have legendary status, so why not, right? But let's break this down because having a 6-ton pet might not be as dreamy as it sounds. 1. Size matters a lot. First off, mammoths weren't exactly lapdogs. Standing up to 13 feet tall and weighing up to 6 tons, they'd need a backyard the size of a football field just to stretch out. You'd need a whole neighborhood just to give them room to roam, and I don't think your HOA would be thrilled. 2. Feeding a giant Ice Age herbivore. Mammoths were grazers, meaning they needed tons of grass, shrubs, and even tree bark. I don't know about you, but I don't think your local supermarket has a mammoth salad bar on the menu. Imagine the grocery bill. Not to mention, you'd need a truckload of hay every week. 3. Temperament, not exactly the cuddly type. While mammoths were social and cute in their own massive way, they weren't exactly snuggle buddies. They were more about grazing in herds and trampling anything that got in their way. So unless you want your sofa turned into paleo mash, maybe stick to a more traditional pet like a cat unless you're ready for an Ice Age-sized mess. 4. The mastodon, a little more chill. Mastodons were a bit smaller but still not the easy-to-manage pets we all dream of. They were more of the solitary, forest-dwelling type, and I'm guessing their idea of a good time isn't a playdate with your goldfish. They like to munch on trees, and the last time I checked, tree huggers weren't exactly a pet-friendly species. Final verdict, as much as it'd be cool to walk a mammoth down the street or show off your mastodon's tusks at the dog park, these ancient beasts just aren't built for a modern home. If you really want a pet with size and swagger, maybe consider a big dog, something that doesn't weigh as much as your car. So, unless you're ready to rebuild your whole house, feed an entire forest, and get a few stomped sidewalks, maybe stick with something a little smaller than a 6-ton Ice Age giant. Don't miss out, hit that subscribe button. If you love epic animal battles, wild facts, and everything cool about the prehistoric world, smash that subscribe button and join the Your Channel Name crew. We've got tons of exciting adventures, mind-blowing facts, and bigger-than-life creatures lined up. Whether it's mammoths versus mastodons or the next wild showdown, you won't want to miss it. Turn on the bell so you never miss an upload. Let's dive into the wild side together. See you in the next video.